Hello, everyone, and welcome down to episode 161 of the Down South Photo Show with me, Brendan Waits, here in Ocean Grove, Victoria, Australia. And the guy on your other screen or in your other ear, if you're listening to the podcast, it's not the 5'2" Tasmanian with the flared pants. It's a guy a little bit further north this time around. It's a big Down South Photo Show welcome to Mr. Adam Edwards. Hello, Adam.
Hey, mate. How are you?
Good. And yourself?
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Thanks for making yourself available to come on to our little podcast and entertain the masses, or however many there. We normally say how many we've got at this point, but I've lost count, so which is probably a good thing.
Yep,
yeah.
Right.
Adam is a landscape photographer based in Broken Hill in New South Wales. So it's good to have a person from New South Wales on the show. I think you're probably our first photographer from New South Wales on the show to this point. So feather in your cap, mate.
Yeah, nice.
Yep. And we'll talk to Adam in a sec, but I've just got a little bit of housekeeping to get through first. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this shit show, Adam. We are now finished with April, believe it or not. It's now May. So our photo comp over on our Facebook page, Down South Photo Show on Facebook, has now finished. Thank you for all your entries. Next week, Cam and I will go over those and do what we normally do, pull out a winner, and then we'll put our top 5, top 10 up on Facebook for you guys to judge the People's Choice Award. There's prizes up for grabs for all that as per usual. A couple of other little things. We still have that one place available on our Great Ocean Road workshop. Adam, you're free next few weeks' time. Anyway, Great Ocean Road workshop from the 19th of May, one place available. That's a 5-day workshop. So we also have our Tarkine to Cradle Mountain workshop available in August, and the Murray Mallee Tour for 2026 will be on sale very soon as well. Adam, it's good to see your face. Thanks for coming on board. We do appreciate it. We've had a few photographers on the channel over the journey sit in the hot seat and do an interview for us. And you did tell me just before off air that you actually had watched a couple of episodes of the show. Is that right?
Yeah. I've seen a few examples of how it's done and how it's not done.
Right.
all within a couple of episodes.
Yeah, mostly of how it's not done, I think. Look, when we start these interviews, I like to do a little segment that I call burst mode, trademarked. It's basically just a real quick sort of rapid fire set of questions. You can answer them however you want. You can give me one-word answers if you want. You can open up a bit further if you want to as well, whatever takes your fancy. Yep. And then we'll come back to a few other questions. So question 1 for you, yep. Adam. What do you prefer, film or digital?
Digital, 100%. 100%. Digital is probably what got me right into photography. Like I sort of got into it right as digital was being big. So, yeah,
perfect. Color or black and white is your preference?
Color, yeah, color for sure. Although I tend to shoot a little bit of black and white at the moment. Nice.
What was your first camera?
Panasonic DMZ FZ10.
Fantastic.
It was such a good camera.
I've got one of those.
Yep.
It's over Great. It's in that hot mess over there somewhere. So
great camera for just starting out. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah. I want to say, did that have a 12 times optical zoom?
Yeah, it was like 28 to 400 or something. It was fantastic. It was so good. Yeah.
Hey, would like a lens.
Yeah, it was too. Leica f2.8.
Amazing. Great little setup, really. And when you think about the tech that was in that camera, and that camera's got to be 15 years old, maybe, 20 years old?
No, way older. Like it was 2002, 2001.
Yeah, well, there you go. So, yeah, that's right. It is 2025, isn't it?
Yep. 20 years old.
I asked this question sort of, it's a bit weird, but what was your last camera? It's not going to be your last camera, but you know what I mean? What camera have you got now?
So the last camera that I bought was a Z9, Nikon Z9. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Yep. Awesome. What's your favorite camera?
Ooh, for nostalgia and feel and just all-round goodness would be the Nikon D3.
Oh, now there's a camera.
I love that camera. Loved it like a baby.
Everyone I talked to about the D3, they loved the way it felt in your hand, and I'm assuming you're no exception.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just the way that it captured light and color for a camera of its generation was just some of my favorite photos I ever took are on that camera, even now. Yeah, amazing. To like 16 megapixels, just, yeah, very fast, very robust, great camera.
Built like an absolute tank. You could drive your car over that thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, nice. Give me one inspiration as to why you got into photography.
I just love being outdoors. Yeah, I love that feeling where you're particularly. It's while I'm always drawn back to landscapes when you're sort of set up and you're ready and you just sit there and look out and just exist.
Love it. If you weren't a photographer, what would you be?
I've already been all of those things.
Okay. Give us a little insight. What
I'm a diesel mechanic by trade.
Fantastic.
So yeah, diesel mechanic by trade, and the last few years like a marketing person for a global business, but finished last year.
We're going to circle back to that. Don't you worry about that. What's more important, composition or exposure?
Well, for the work that I do, exposure.
Very good. Yeah. Good answer. You're listening, Mr. Blake? Yeah. You only get to shoot with one focal length for the rest of your life. What is it?
20 millimeters.
Oh, nice. 20 millimeter full frame equivalent, I'm assuming.
20 millimeter prime on a full frame camera.
Lovely. And give me your ultimate photography destination that you haven't been to yet.
Ooh. That's hard.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Gun to your head. Have to pick one.
Just like far South America.
Oh, Argentina, nice.
Yeah.
That does look amazing. The
desert
I've followed.
Like the desert stuff, the arid. That's me.
Amazing. Yeah. And quite close by some quite phenomenal mountains as well. So awesome place. So that's rapid fire over and done with. Let's talk about your beginnings. Diesel mechanic by trade.
Yep. Come from like quite a arty family. Like mum was always right into art, which meant me and my brother were always drawing or painting or something, and was right into that right through school. But at the same time, had this side interest of mechanical things. So I had an opportunity to leave school and do a diesel mechanic apprenticeship after year 11 and left and never looked back. Before I knew it, I had an income and digital cameras were really big, and that was the pathway to my Panasonic camera.
So let's rewind a little bit there. Where did you do your schooling?
Here in Broken Hill. So
you're at Broken Hill, born and bred.
Yeah, so Broken Hill has an A and B grade. So you're born and bred, you're an A grader.
That's brilliant on a lot of it, and it pleases me no end that you've got a gallery in Broken Hill, which is a location that is world famous for its art as well.
It's like this. We could make a whole podcast on why I did the gallery, right? But there's a huge part of it for me that's like I feel like I'm giving something back to the place that raised me, and there's not very many practicing younger artists these days. So that sort of gallery culture that exists in what is a really arty town, it's at risk. So I feel like creating this space that I've just done this year is like giving something back and trying to keep the legacy going. So that's fantastic. For those of you who may not know where Broken Hill is, there's a little map for you, so you can see Melbourne in the middle of the image there is near where I am. And if you look right down the bottom, you see Hobart, where Mr. Blake resides. And then if you look almost the same distance, but to the north, sort of northwest, I guess, you see Broken Hill way up there. I've only ever been there once. I'm very, very sad to say. And that's going to change because I want to come and check out your gallery space for one. But is it fair to say that the very landscape around Broken Hill is, you get inspiration
every time you look out the window sort of thing? Is that what it's like for you?
Yeah, 100. Yeah, absolutely. So I actually only just said to someone today in the gallery here, Broken Hill is not in the middle of nowhere; it's in the middle of everywhere.
That's right.
And it really is. So within an hour in every direction, there's something amazing and something different. You head an hour to the east, and you're at the Menindee Lakes, which is the incredible lake system, and the Darling River. An hour north, you're in the Northern Barrier Ranges, which is just this beautiful, not big mountain range in the scheme of things, but very, very beautiful range. And an hour south, you're already pushing down to Mildura. Well, towards Mildura, it's 3 hours, but there's a lot of really good mallee scrub and all of those kinds of things. So it's just this it's right in the middle of all of these amazing things. And then there's nowhere else in the world you can just go and stand near an old mine site like this image that's up here.
Yeah.
Like you can just go photograph that, and you're 100 meters from an old mine shaft and buildings and all of those kinds of things. So, which are really photogenic.
That's what blows my mind, and also what would definitely draw me to want to shoot that area. But going back to the genesis of all this, so you said your mum was a bit artistic, is that right?
Yeah, 100%. She was always doing something, whether it was painting or making crafty things out of ribbon and also like all sorts of stuff. So yeah, it was a good influence on my life.
Definitely kindred spirits there. My dear old mum, she was like that as well. She was forever making something or drawing something or creating something. And sometimes that gets lost on people as to exactly where their inspiration comes from. But, it becomes pretty obvious as you get older as well.
Absolutely.
So that's right. I'm just like my mum.
Yeah, no, it's so true, just all of those times. And even as a kid, we'd pick a weekend and mum and dad would put us in the car and we'd go visit all the art galleries in town,
Yeah, fantastic.
Bit of local tourism.
Yeah.
Mum liked to collect a bit of art and local artwork and stuff. So it's sort of something that's always there.
Yeah. So for you, it was... What did you see in photography? Like, how were you drawn to photography?
It was kind of I guess like a combination of circumstances. I didn't necessarily have the time, I felt, to do, hands-on artworks. I was, I'd had a 4-wheel drive and I was into traveling around. So, by nature, you're out seeing new things and new landscapes. And then, this advent of digital cameras, and I was always pretty keen on technology and like an early adopter for those kinds of things. So it just all made sense. And I felt like, you get that feel when you do something like this is something that it gels with me. Didn't have to think too much about it, just did it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it sort of spun your wheels early. Where did you buy that camera?
At my local camera shop
in Broken Hill.
Yeah.
See, I love that. So I'm going to go on a limb here and say that store's no longer there. Would I be right?
Yeah, believe it or not.
Is that right?
Still here. They still framed all of this work.
Right. Okay. And are they a franchise or is it just an independent?
No, independent shop. Same owners still.
That is brilliant. Give them a shout out. You know the name of the shop?
Shutterbug. Yeah, they do.
Right.
They do amazing stuff. She's got a really good printer and has always served me really well. So wherever it's made sense, I've been able to buy stuff from them.
Yeah. And did you take advice before you bought that camera? You just did your own research on when you got the FZ10, is that right?
Yeah, I think she might have just had it on the shelf. It was just there.
Brilliant.
And I'm a researcher by nature, so I had read at that stage the best research was Better Photography magazine or whatever the Gal magazine was, where you just
Peter Eastway's own production, which is absolutely brilliant read. Yeah,
I know. I'm sure I read a review on it and I thought, that's a great camera to start out with, and it really was. It was for a couple of years.
Yeah, awesome. So like what are we talking back then? I'm going to say like a 256 megabyte memory card in it or something like that.
Oh, I was just thinking like the price of the memory cards and the size of the memory cards was outlandish compared to what we do now. Like I remember the first like good size memory card I bought, I was like, wow, this is expensive.
Yeah.
It was I had to save for a memory card. It might have even been a 128.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's funny because the first digital camera I bought was a Fuji 602Z, which probably in hindsight a bit of a competitor to that Panasonic model. It was probably a little bit earlier, but 4 AA batteries, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was, I remember that being a selling factor, is it had a Nike had rechargeable battery.
Correct. And but yeah, this thing took, are you familiar with smart media cards?
Yep.
Yeah. So the old big square flimsy smart media card, and as luck would have it, a guy not 2 days ago came into my shop with a smart media card.
What?
And asked if I could get the data off it, and I've still got the card at the shop. I am hunting high and low for any kind of reader, but
even then, I read all my cameras through my cards through my cameras.
That's right, exactly.
There was no such thing that
it
I
came
knew.
With the USB cable, kids, and you plugged it into your device, and away you went.
Exactly. Yeah, well, it's crazy when you think about how far things have come. Honestly, like just.
Oh yeah. It's nuts. I mean, I say this on the show quite often, but how cool would it be to take one of these back to even 2005 and show people how far we've come in 20 years with technology that's in something like that. So moving on from, you've got your camera, you're taking photos in and around Broken Hill, and what happens next? Like, is there a natural progression towards, hang on a minute, there's something here that I can turn into a living or turn into a career? Was there something tangible?
Yeah, like it was fully that slippery slope that many people go through. So I think in 2004, when the D200 came out, that was my first Nikon SLR. And I had that and the 18 to 70 mil kit lens, and that was also an amazing camera for its time.
Must have been good money in being a diesel mechanic, mate. Bloody hell.
There still is. But it was incredible. And then, I felt like I was reasonably good at it. At that time, we were working rosters on the mine site. I didn't have kids, so I was spending a lot of time doing photography.
Yeah.
And then, I did weddings and commercial stuff and you name it. Like I had a crack at it for a few years.
Yeah.
And just, I'd say a good 5 or 6 years, I was plugging away doing it as sort of my side hustle.
Yeah, and mainly selling landscape photos online through your website, or
mainly like word of mouth stuff in town here. Yeah, nothing particularly online. It wasn't really big back then to be able to do that. I don't think I had the skills to build the back end for that kind of thing, and things like I think Smug Mug might have been the first of those kinds of websites where you had a platform to sell from.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really into that, but most of my stuff, like I shot for Steel Blue Boots and different mine sites and did a whole heap of weddings and all sorts of things which I look back and I think about how much stuff I learned. I think but the biggest lesson I learned was don't turn your passion into a business if you're not doing the things you're passionate about to make money. It was a pretty crazy few years for me for photography.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people when they're starting out, they, as you said, the slippery slope. But quite often people get ahead of themselves and they're like, "Oh no, this is for me." And then you actually start to work out, it's not actually as easy as it looks to stand out from the pack, to get great photos all the time, and then to deliver a product in any way, whether it be commercial shooting, framing your stuff, the gallery that you've got behind you, which we'll talk about later. For me, it was doing markets. Did you ever dip your toe in the water?
Yeah, did a few markets with mixed success. Like I think I didn't realize at the time that the stuff I shoot and was shooting isn't the type of stuff people want to buy at markets. People want Bluebird Day, boring, stuff that just represents what they see when they visit a place. Whereas I think landscape photographers don't go looking for those things.
It's funny you should say that, and we've talked about this on the show before, and that is the need to have to sometimes have to bite the bullet and shoot commercially, shoot that way. I know my best-selling photo of Ocean Grove is I can't stand it. I think it's horrible. It's one of the worst photos I've got of Ocean Grove, but it resonates with people. So people look at it and they, that's where I was proposed to, or that's where, we used to come here as kids all the time, and all that sort of stuff. So it connects with them, but not with you so much. So it's a necessary evil. It pays the bill sometimes. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, I'm slowly learning to deal with that conversation in my own head. I think over time, to try and reason with yourself about. I was pretty stubborn a few years ago and just thought I'm not changing for anybody.
Yeah,
and I thought, well, you don't really have to. You just need to look at it in a different lens.
No, you can keep doing the stuff that you love doing. You just there's these products called bread and butter products that literally pay the bills, and then it gives you the tools you need to keep doing what you want to do. So, so you progressed through. So you went to Nikon SLR early with the D200.
It was my first SLR.
A phenomenal camera, the D200. It was groundbreaking for Nikon, and it did wonderful things because it put. I don't want to say it wasn't cheap. It was still an expensive camera back in the day. But
I shamelessly grey imported mine.
Yeah, it was relatively affordable though for more people. It brought digital SLR photography to more people. I remember my camera house days in Elizabeth Street in Melbourne. That was 2004. So banging out a lot of Nikon D200s. So a great setup. And you did mention with the D200 that you bought, what lens or lenses did you?
The 18-70 kit lens. So it was 3.5 to 5.6, I think.
Which would have been the ED version, I hope. That is an absolutely sensational lens. There's one right there for you.
Yeah, the value for money.
That's a Nikon D70. Look at that. And that's an 18. That is that's the 18-70 DX ED, which is the. Love that lens.
That's it. Yeah, I took some great photos on that. I still look back to some of the photos I took with that gear, and I think, we have this culture sometimes within photography now where we always need better gear, but it's 100% not the case, right? You can go get a 20-year-old camera and make one of these photos here with the right approach and knowledge. Like the gear, isn't the be all and end all. Makes it easy.
I fully intend on actually doing a retro review of that Nikon D70. So, because I think that was also another one of those cameras that Nikon put out that revolutionized the game. Because again, it was. I don't even want to say a watered down D200. It wasn't really. It was just a different version of the D200 that slightly lighter weight components and that sort of stuff. Still had a magnesium alloy chassis and that sort of stuff. But it was the last ones they sold with the good kit lens.
It didn't come with rubbish, or not that any of them are rubbish, but it didn't come with just the absolute bare basic. The kit lens was actually really good.
Yeah, that's right. And that was one area that changed along the way where you knew you were putting good gear in people's hands in as far as the body was concerned, but the lenses always, from that point on left a bit to be desired. But anyway, I digress. So you had an 18-70, which I'm assuming you used at the 18 quite a lot for what you were doing.
A lot of wider angle things out here, and particularly on a DX body. 18 isn't probably quite wide enough now that I look back, but I ended up with a fair collection of Sigma glass because I just couldn't justify the OE glass at the time. So I had the Sigma full frame 12-24.
Oh, nice.
That was a great lens for what it was. Pretty bad distortions when you look back at it now, but for what it was good. And I had a Sigma 70-200 2.8.
Nice.
And the 120-300 2.8 as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So. That 120-300 2.8. That's a nice. You still got that?
No, well, I do, but it's broken. Yeah,
It's a sign of gear being used, mate.
Sitting on the shelf with I think a focus rail or something, and it's broken. It's all still there, and it's just probably needs a visit to the doctor. But
yeah. So the journey. So we continue on through the journey. So just continuing to shoot, local stuff and do as much as you could to get your name out there locally while still working full time, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I mean, I worked full time for over 20 years building whatever my photography has become now. Whether you think, I don't think you ever feel like you've made it, right? I think that's the curse of being a creative person. But it's always been the thing that's on the side. I had a few years off where I did a bit of soul searching, where I, really realized that doing weddings and family things, and that wasn't really for me.
Yeah.
It took the joy out of it long term. It's sort of one of those things where I feel like I enjoyed doing those things, but it just chips away little bit by little bit. Like, it's not something that happens like, I hate this because I don't, but just all those little bits add up, and eventually it's like, I don't get the joy from photography like I do when I wander out into a landscape and sit on a rock.
Yeah. So
had a couple of years off.
I think, as far as I'm concerned, again, I've only had very little time in your area. You're quite, I don't want to say lucky, you make your own luck, but I love the fact that you could, as you say, head off an hour in any direction, not only get to an amazing place, but get there on your own. And that sense of isolation you get in Outback Australia, I don't think there's anything quite like it anywhere. I've been lucky enough to travel a bit, and I always talk about, I'm a Swan Hill boy originally, so not that far away from where you are.
No, not at all.
And I talk to people about, going off into the bush and finding your own spot. And I would imagine that that's something that really resonates with you.
Yeah, like full on. Yeah, it's one of those things where if I look at all my favorite photos, if I think about what I felt when I took them, it's always this feeling of insignificance. So it's either insignificance because you're in this grand landscape, insignificance because you're just one person sitting in the world. And I mean, insignificance feels a bit like a negative term, but in this sense, like, I think it's really positive. It just grounds you and, keeps you humble and all of those things. And all of my favorite photos have that feeling attached to them.
Yeah, well, and it's not only that, it's also talk about off grid and talk about being, unable to be contacted is something that I cherish now. Yeah. And I think you're right. I think it does help my photography when I know that I got nothing else. I've just got me, the camera, and a landscape. It resonates big time. I'm sure with a lot of our listeners as well. And, there's a time now, we're more connected than ever. And yet all you hear about is people that want to disconnect.
Yeah. It's the same as the conversation around, people are looking for authenticity more so than ever because there's so much content out that's not very authentic. Yeah. Everyone's trying to struggle and claw to create balance in what they do.
Yeah.
And everyone's version of balance is different. Like, if I haven't been out in the bush or sit with my camera for a period of time, like, I'm way off balance. Like, I need to go, and even if I don't even take the lens cap off, the process, set up the tripod, sit down, frame a shot. It doesn't even matter about the actual shot. It's that process and time that just is very good for me. And during COVID, I mean, like, I genuinely, it changed my life for the good. I won't say save my life because I don't think it was necessarily as bad as some people had it. But COVID photography had a huge impact and purpose, had a massive impact on my mental health and all of those things.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's good to hear that, and it also it just makes me want to come up to Broken Hill. So
you guys have to live from the campfire. Oh
yeah, no, that'd be brilliant. So we'll skip ahead a bit now. You mentioned before that, I mean, you're a Nikon shooter.
Yep.
So, there are a lot of listeners who like to know exactly what kind of gear professionals are shooting with. And so for you, it's Nikon Z9, did I hear you say before?
Yeah. Z9, Z6 II, Z7 II.
Right.
So
just the full suite then?
Almost have the full set. Need a Z8. Julie, need a Z8.
Didn't a Z5 just appear as well?
Yeah. It's not in my wish list, but
Julie watches every week, so
no, I've got the full suite, and I made the change to mirrorless probably 3 years ago. I had the D850 and the trio of 2.8 lenses, and the 200 to 500 was my kit. So when I made this switch, it was all about that I had a lot of travel planned, and I really wanted to drop the weight, and I'd experienced the Z7 too, and knew that it sounds a bit funny, but it was a big upgrade for me in the way that I shot, because I don't feel like it was that big of an upgrade from a D850 for a lot of people. But it really was for me. So I did the Z7 to the 2.8 lenses all at once. Then, been working with Nikon School, and had access to try and use all of the other things. And I think, when I got the Z6 II when I was starting to do a bit of astro a few years ago, because it's just so good in the low light. And then it's nearly 2 years ago now, I got a Z9 and a 600 when I was doing a lot more wildlife. So I never really upgraded till I knew that the upgrade was really worth it, which I think is important in that camera progression in equipment. Like, a lot of people get it because someone else says they need it, whereas I sort of got it because I knew I needed it. So my kit now is that 3 bodies, the 14 to 24, 24 to 70, and 70 to 200. And the 180 to 600 is my normal every other day. But I get it out when I can. I've got a 600 F4 as well. The F mount though. So
so you run that with the adapter?
Yeah. And it's incredible, but it's a mission when you've got to get that out, and you really have to be on a mission to get something for that. So,
well, let's talk a little bit about process, like when you were actually out shooting. So you say you've got the 3 bodies, the lenses. So each body has a lens fitted to it at all times, or are you keep the body separate and lenses separate sort of thing in your bag?
I always have a lens on my Z7 II.
Yep.
So, and it's generally whatever the last lens I used was. So it's like, at the moment, a lot, it's the 24 to 70. And then I have my Z6 II in the bag without a body on it, because you never know. I have my 20mm prime, my 24 to 70 and 70 to 200, all in the bag. That's my normal in my backpack kit.
Yep.
And that's so flexible. If I ever make a change, actually at the moment, I think I'll swap the 70 to 200 out for a 100 to 400.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I just think sometimes the 70 to 200 falls a bit short for some landscape work.
So the reason why you've got such a broad range of lenses is because, I'm going to assume here, yes, you are primarily a landscape photographer, but in Australia, when it comes to landscape, generally comes wildlife as well. The two go hand in hand. So that's why you've always got that arsenal ready to fire, yeah?
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, my shooting process is I don't generally have much of a plan. I'll just head out and I'll go from whatever the conditions are. And that could mean that, well, it's not going to be much of a afternoon for landscape, so I'll go chase wildlife. Or, like you say, you come across something while you're out and about that's just too good not to shoot.
Yep.
Which happens all the time. But I mean, doing workshops, I feel like a lot of the time that bag is my bag of what everyone might have.
Yep.
So if I have a group of people who are like, what could I achieve here? Most of the time, the only reason I get my gear out is to show them how I would do it.
Yeah.
And then I can show them, hey, this is what you could do with a 14mm lens, or this is what you could do with that. And then it gives me all the tools to show people what I'm doing. If I'm just going out by myself, I probably just to do landscapes, I'd probably just take the wide and the mid zoom, and that would be enough here in Broken Hill for sure.
Yeah, well, you might not have been in the podcasting game very long, but you have mastered the art of the segue already, because I was just about to ask you about workshops, and you brought it up. So with your how did this come about? What got you? I mean, I'm going to assume it was because you are where you are is a massive part of it. It's a similar to Cam down in Tasmania. Like, he's got the Tasmanian wilderness as his playground. So why wouldn't you do that sort of thing? I'm going to assume that it's a similar kind of thing for you.
Yeah, similar. I guess maybe a little bit different. So I spoke to the point where I worked out what really didn't float my boat about photography, and that was, dealing with people, like in the nicest way possible.
Yeah, workshops kind of sounds counterintuitive to that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just so different though. So a few years ago, I taught at our local community college for a few years, and I thought back to how much I used to enjoy that. Like, I really, really enjoy connecting dots for people. It's one of the things.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it really energizes me personally. And then, like, I spent a few years, I guess, between about 2015 and 2018, just doing my own thing, like completely. And I think I made a pretty good body of work. And I started that, a bit like you say, I'd start to get people say, hey, we're coming to Broken Hill. Can you show us around for a day? And did a few, one-on-one workshops, and then realized really quickly that, hang on, this kind of ticks all the boxes for me. Like, it gets me out and about, gets me into the wilderness. It energizes me because I just love teaching people. Like, it really, and I knew straight away that this was something that I could really see myself doing, like, longer term.
Yeah.
And then I built that over, like, I think some people think you can turn those things on overnight, but the reality is I've been building that over 5+ years. Like,
it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. So you're halfway there. You're doing well.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like you say, it's 2025 now, so it's probably more like 7 or 8 years. But
yeah, that's right. Exactly. Just circling back there, like you're saying, you love getting people to connect the dots, or connecting the dots for people. I completely agree with you. There's something about when you're with someone who, has got a decent eye for it, in inverted commas, whatever that means these days. But they just can't quite grasp the technical side of it, or the gear, or, understanding the exposure triangle, or how aperture affects this and how ISO affects that. When you get that penny drop moment, and you can see it and you can feel it, and sometimes there's even a sound, it's like, oh my God, like, I get it. I see what you're talking about. It's a massive payoff, isn't it?
It's like I feel like it's the biggest compliment you could ever have, just the fact that you've had a positive influence on someone's experience is just like amazing. It really is an amazing feeling. And I think some people are just naturally energized, and they're naturally like teachers. And like, I've always felt like that in whatever I've done. I've liked to take someone under my wing, even in my other positions in other career. It all fell together. Honestly, I couldn't tell you the moment that it happened, but over a period of time, I was like, oh, here I am. This is what I do now.
Yeah, which is so cool that you got to experience it organically. It sounds to me like it's come quite naturally to you and wasn't forced. Like, it didn't need to be forced. which is very, very cool. So, folks, if you haven't met Adam, if you haven't been to Broken Hill, do yourselves a massive favor and get up there, because this guy will show you around. That sounds good to me.
Yeah, and Mungo and a few other really cool places nearby.
Well, so where do you run your workshops?
It's a constantly evolving list. So I kicked off just doing Broken Hill and the surrounding areas, and then just before COVID, I was pretty ready to pull the pin. Like I was like, I'm ready to go, and then COVID happened. So I'm super happy that I didn't.
Yeah.
But I used that downtime to work through all the red tape to be a guide to go to the off-limits areas at Mungo National Park, which has been this place that I've always had this, I don't know, affinity with. And anyone who's ever been there will know what I'm talking about. There's just got a vibe. Yeah, it's that there's something there that we don't see but we feel, and it's always been that place for me. So I put all the time in and got that. And that's probably nowadays my most popular workshop, because I can take you to the places that you can't go by yourself.
Yep.
This year I did Kangaroo Island, which was incredible.
Nice one. That's a great spot.
It's just like, it's amazing. I do the corner country, so up in the northwest corner of New South Wales, which is like, if you look on the map, there's not even there. So White Cliffs and Tibooburra and that whole just remote desert area of New South Wales, which is amazing.
Do you go to, I'm going to say this wrong, do you go to Moodwingie National Park?
No, so that's on the list.
Yep.
That's another one that's going to take a bit of time to get all the proper approvals to work through the stuff with the traditional owners and make sure that it's all done properly. And what else? I'm going to Kenya in November this year.
Hello.
It's cool, for 11 days.
Fantastic.
Which is going to be an amazing trip. It's really small. We've got a safari company that's just 3 people per vehicle, and so you get the whole bench seat to yourself. And it's a bit of a premium type experience. Doing Iceland in February, just because it's an amazing place. But there's a whole heap of things that are in the works. Probably not next year, but the year after I'll do Sweden, because I've spent a lot of time there for work.
Right.
Heaps of cool stuff. This year I've got a couple they're in the same regions, but one's centered around wildlife and wildflowers. So it's like spring, to try and get and capture cool sturt desert peas if we have a good winter, and cool emus and kangaroos and birds.
So if we have someone listening to the show might be interested in doing a workshop with you, obviously they can go to your website to book that. He says, as he just surreptitiously chucks the website up on there. There it is. And what would I expect if I'm coming on a workshop with you? What kind of experience would I need, for example?
None. So, I guess the 10-minute sales pitch of mine, which I hate sales pitch, but in all honesty, I only do small groups.
Yep.
So I only do very small groups, 4, maybe 5 or 6, if the group is right, and that works out. You don't even need any gear if you don't want. I have loan gear, but it's all about the experience for me. And providing the experience. So one thing's the photography and going to all these amazing places, but 90% of the workshops I do, you get, you're in your own motel room. We eat, good places. We do all of that together. It's all inclusive, and I think for a 4 or 5 day experience, then that's really important.
Yeah,
because you get all of those great conversations around the dinner table, as you guys know, and it's just this huge experience, and I think just the time that I put into making sure people really get it, I think is what they get. They come away from it. I've never had anyone come away from a workshop saying, no, I didn't understand what you told me, or I didn't get any good shots or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And that's where the small group experience is really the way to go. Particularly if you are, visiting a new area, you want to get as much out of it as you can. And, let's be honest, you're paying good money to do it. You probably want to get that one-on-one time with a pro like yourself. And to me, it's not so much, look, there's a lot of photographers out there who know how to teach or know photography. There's not that many out there that know A, how to teach it correctly, but B, know the area. That's the big one. There's a lot of people out there that are running photography tours to places that they've never been. Which I find really disappointing. It's like, why would you do that? Like, you've got to take people to a place that's you're passionate about, but also that and that's where obviously the area where you are works really well for you.
What value do you add if you're just on a holiday with everybody? So the zero. So the workshops like Kenya, where I don't have the local knowledge, I'll always vet and employ a local guide.
Yeah.
So, and Iceland's the same, obviously. And I think that's just incredibly important. Like, there's no value like local knowledge. Like, I send my itineraries out a couple of weeks before the workshop, and I always put the disclaimer, like, we probably won't follow this at all, because the day before the workshop, the sky's going to be this way. And, I know that there's not a shot there, but there's a shot there. And we wing it. The other benefit of the small group is,
but you're not winging it at all. You're actually changing it on the fly, because you can, and that's going to get the best results for that day. Cam and I did exactly the same thing on the Murray Mallee a few weeks ago, where day one was turned on its head because it poured rain at Sea Lake. What the hell? Never rains there.
So I've done a Mungo workshop where we end up photographing an aurora in the Flinders Ranges. Like that's just how it goes. Like, you have to have a solid plan B.
You're not that far from the Flinders Ranges, really, are you?
Nope. I could be at Razorback Lookout for because everybody knows where that is. I could be there within 4 hours from home.
Yeah. Fantastic. So the evolution continues. You start doing the workshops. You end up where I first met you, which was BFOP, the Bright Festival of Photography. And am I right in saying that last year you ran a tour that finished at BFOP? Is that right?
Oh, but BFOP was just in the middle.
In the middle. Beg your pardon. Right. Yeah. So it encompassed.
The year before, I had this idea while I was driving home that there's all these people. I love to talk to people, right? So I got this feeling that there's a lot of people, because Bright's not a particularly easy place to get if you're not driving there. There's all these people that are flying out of major cities and don't have a means of getting there without hiring a car or something. So I had this idea, I'll do a road trip. And I set this 10-day road trip up where I picked a group of people up in Adelaide, and we went to Lake Bonnie, to Mildura, to Mungo, to Sea Lake, to Bright, and then did BFOP in the middle, and then did the Grampians, and then returned back to Adelaide.
Fantastic.
It was an amazing trip, mate. Honestly,
it
was so good. Yeah. It was really cool. I can't do it this year. I've got a wedding the weekend before BFOP. Right. So,
but you are back at BFOP this year, though.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, as long as I get an invite.
Well,
I haven't got the letter
yet. we'll wait with bated breath, don't we? So,
I'll be back.
And now it would be very remiss of me not to talk about your fantastic new gallery space that you've just put together there in Broken Hill. So walk us through that. What was the brainchild here? How did this come about?
I mean, it's a bit like how I become to do workshops. I was doing, my real focus this year was to move to doing more workshops in Broken Hill, just so I'm, home more. And I have this beautiful resource here in terms of all the locations that I wanted to do more in Broken Hill. But what I've realised over the last few years is when you're doing a lot of things in one place, your plan B becomes more. You need it more reliable. So I thought, well, I need a space of some description, and my idea was to find a small sort of office type area where I could have a little conference room and nothing like what I ended up with, like way smaller. But it was a bit like serendipitous. I looked for a long time last year for a place, and I just didn't come across the right thing. I went and looked at a number of different places, and then, I called a guy I know who's now my landlord. Basically, it just all fell together. He not long purchased this property, and they didn't purchase it for this part of the property. And they said, well, we don't have a real use for that. We'd be open to renting it. And it used to be an ARB dealership, like an ARB four-wheel drive shop.
There you go.
So it took a lot of work. Like I worked probably 12 hours a day, 6 days a week for 8 weeks to turn it into what it is, and really didn't pay anyone for anything. Like I did pretty much everything myself, from building walls to lining rooms to painting to putting carpet down to hanging lights to you name it. But yeah, I opened on the 1st of March, had a big opening event where I had a family and friends on the night before. Probably had about 60 to 80 people through. Had a few celebratory beverages.
Attaboy.
Yeah. And like the rest is history, where it's only the 1st of May now. So it's really only been open 8 weeks. And I've done 5 workshops in that space. So I haven't been open a lot.
Yeah.
But it's all in the plan. So like you can see on the webpage that you're sharing there, like I'm a bit of a realist. I know that most of the year selling prints is not going to keep the doors open.
Yeah.
So this space was bigger than I needed, but I've put the additional space to use. So I've got a couple of really well set up offices with hot desks, and I've got a really, really good conference room. It's genuinely the best conference room in Broken Hill.
Yeah.
So it's got all the tech and a great screen and all of the stuff in it.
Yeah.
And I've already hired that out a few times. So, it's all coming together, and it's not gonna turn into, like you say, an overnight success. Like I'm gonna stick with it for however long it takes. But I'm now like doing a bit of my own printing and printing smaller prints and all of those kinds of things that are more affordable for the tourists, because not everyone can afford like a 60-inch print. For their wall, they just want something to take with them. So I'm doing just matted prints and those kinds of things at the moment that I've been working through. But it's great.
The space looks elite, mate. I mean, it really is a credit to you. And obviously there's a lot of planning and design that went into it. And, I know how difficult it is to get and how expensive they are to get these places off the ground. And, it's an absolute credit to you. It does look great. And I assure you that I will see it in person at some point in the very near future.
Yeah.
So if you're getting a lot of, you're getting bookings for people who are running conferences in Broken Hill.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's one of those things, like, I don't think any advertising outdoes word of mouth. So it's just about, providing, much like workshops, right? Providing the best possible experience and product, and just knowing that there'll be repeat business and there'll be word of mouth business. There's no referral like a friend. So every time it goes out to another business and they've had an amazing experience here and everything's worked and they haven't had tech issues or any of those kinds of things, then, it's just another great referral that will turn into future business. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So turning to the future, what do you see for yourself? I mean, you obviously you've laid down a good path, like with your workshops and things that you're doing that seem to be getting traction for you, that seem to be working for you, your gallery space, that sort of stuff. It looks like Adam Edwards is here for the long haul when it comes to photography. So are there, further plans, or where do you see yourself heading?
I don't really know, to be honest. I'd like
Best
to
answer ever.
Yeah, I'd like to slow down a little bit on workshops. This year's a big year, right? Like I think I'm 12 or 13 workshops for the year.
Yeah.
And they're like incredibly thankful for everyone's support. They're all pretty much sold out, which is amazing.
That's great.
I've got a bit of a passion. I guess it's partially a passion project at the moment that would ultimately turn into a part of my income, which is I've created a camera club. Maybe that's what you'd call it. I don't really like to call it that, but it's called the Camera Collective.
Yep.
So being involved with the community so heavily, as you talk to people just all the time about their experience and what enables them and what holds them back. I have this mantra of community over competition, and it's something that comes from my core. Like I hate competitiveness and clickiness, and groups of people who don't accept everybody and all of those kinds of things. And there are some places in the camera community where that's really prevalent.
Unfortunately, you're right. Yes.
Yeah. And I've seen some incredibly good, talented photographers just never reach their full potential because they're always questioning feedback they got from a judge in something, or something didn't connect with the people they put it in front of, or all of these negative experiences they have related to community. So late last year, I set up a survey, and I gave away a new Nissi JetMag kit as a prize for the survey. And it comes from this place of really want to understand deeply what people want from community, and what inspires them, what they love about their communities, what they hate about their communities. And I got about 400 responses, which is unbelievable.
Wow, that's brilliant.
Incredible. And it was really a lot of similar stories and experiences. So I'm piloting at the moment the camera collective. So I've got like 17 sort of founding members where we're just working through it together, which is the coolest experience. Like, hey guys, I don't have a plan, but we're going to create something amazing that supports you. And it's just been this really, really fulfilling experience so far. We're doing like a masterclass every month where they essentially pick the topic they want to learn about. We do 3 weekly critique sessions where it's literally about just talking about people's images and doing an edit on a couple and just trying to fill the gaps. We did a giveaway, which people, ironically, out of the community survey, many people like to win prizes. So I gave away a tripod, and so far so good, man. Like I think long term, I'd really like that to become a really huge part of what I do. And
is the camera collective something that anyone can get involved in, or
not yet?
Okay, right. So that's what you say. It's work in progress.
Yeah, it's a passion project. So I guess that the future vision for me doesn't matter whether I'm running workshops or in the gallery or whatever, is to be a positive driver in the photography community. I want to change the culture.
Oh, that's a credit to you, mate. That's a very noble cause and a very noble passion to attach yourself to. So, awesome. Can't wait to see a bit more about that. Actually,
I hope we sort of want to start a movement, right? Get away from some of the archaic things that we do.
Yeah. Sounds good to me. Mate, thank you so much. I told you we'd be here for 45 minutes. It's gone clearly over that. So that's
I told you we could be here for 3 hours.
Absolutely. Please, folks, head over to adamedwards.com.au. Check out his wonderful website. That's another credit to you as well. Your website's great. Check out all of the fantastic imagery that Adam has created over the journey. Have a look at his websites. And if you're lucky enough to find yourself in Broken Hill anytime soon, by all means, swing by, say good day to the man, and check out what he's got to offer there.
Yeah, definitely call in. People calling in makes my day. Yeah.
Oh, there you go, folks. See? And just tell him you saw him on the Down South Photo Show, and that'll
Yeah.
That'll pump his tires up and pump my tires up and Cam's tires up. So that's what we like. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
awesome.
Good as gold, mate. Thank you again for your time. And don't hang up. I want to talk to you a bit more off air. But
cool. All good.
This has been episode 161 of the Down South Photo Show. Thanks for joining us. We will see you for episode 162 sometime in the near future. Bye for now.